Go.
Go. Good afternoon, folks. Here I am again with you hundreds of thousands of people out there. And today I'm going to talk about something that's going to be right in our faces here without too much time going on. And that's something folks are really concerned about, and that is AI, artificial intelligence. I almost said the other word, and that's not right. Artificial insemination, that's not it at all. But I have a question about that, and so is the people who write columns and things. They have a question about it too, and that's about what about ethics with AI? What do we do with that? Like, how do you set a robot, excuse me, so to speak, up so that they are an ethical part of the community? Now, if you have a AI, nice-looking robot, and it serves you well, you're going to want to have that in your home. And you're going to want to have that so that they do the dishes and various things around the house and out in the garage maybe. But what ought to be their ethical ground? The same as a human being? Of course, sometimes we wonder about those ethical grounds for human beings, especially on the news lately. So how would we go about setting that up? For instance, you create a robot and you put in there the programming to do everything you want it to do. And it may get down to the point of all you have to do is say what it is you want, and the robot will just carry it all out, just like it was second nature to them. So what should the ethics be? Suppose that the task that the robot is assigned to do is something that stumbles over a toddler. What do you do about that? Now, what you would put into the robot, of course, is something to tell it where to go and how to get there. But then how do you give it the information that if they happen to run across a toddler, an infant, or a human being, what should they do? What should the robot do? Anybody? What should that robot do?
What, if a toddler's crossing the street?
A what?
What did you say?
What did the robot has got to have some ethics. So what would you program that robot to do in case it say stumbles over a toddler?
Oh, it stumbles over. Pick the toddler up.
Pick a toddler up? Well, why would you do that?
I would think you would want the robot not to inflict harm on any living thing.
Well, but then could the robot walk on the ground?
Yes.
Yes.
So he hurts the ground when he walks on it.
Yeah, you begin to see the problems with setting up a set of ethics for artificial intelligence for the people who create these things, these probably very successful things and very needed things that we will soon discover that we're going to need those because we just lost some of the skills of being human like we have now.
Right.
We don't have all the skills that they had, what, 200 or 300 years ago? Or 1,000 years ago?
50?
50,000 years ago?
Yeah.
Well, no. So you begin to see the problem. So how would you devise something to take care of that problem? You got any ideas?
You have to have somebody that gives it intention or
Yeah.
sets up the guidelines.
Yeah, yeah. So what about that guy that sets up or gal that sets up the guidelines? Who programs him or her? Or is that the wrong word?
No, that's the right word, but you pose a very powerful question because whoever sets up those guidelines is inherently going to be biased in some way, right?
Uh-huh. Well, going to be, what did you say?
They're going to be biased. Whoever programs a
biased.
robot will be biased.
Yeah,
at
that's
some
right.
point,
And so therein is the problem. How do we account for that? How do we make it so that a being like we've seen in movies that can be programmed to do as we want without hurting humans? How would you get to that stuff? Like, here is the protocols, here is the book for how to set up or program somebody so they won't hurt other human beings. You notice I said other.
Yeah, it almost has to be done at the government level, though, doesn't it? I mean,
Oh, do you trust them?
no, but I don't have a better option for you either, right?
Yeah. What if you did like one of the movies does? Is that like you set up, get a whole bunch of say knowledgeable people. It could be scientists. That would be a lot of different people, a lot of different things that they know to set up what would you have, a conference? Or would you boil it down to like maybe 12 people?
Yeah.
Or would you boil it down to 9 people? Where do you know that that's been done?
Very well could have. But I mean, in that scenario where you have anywhere from 9 to 1,000 people in the room, the questions that you would have to walk out of that room with are endless, right?
So are you suggesting that that would be a series of steps? And they've some conferences have started out with that sort of thing. Everybody gets to have a word, and then they boil it down, then they boil it down some more, and then they boil it down some more till they get down to say like 9 people or 12 people, and that's what they go to make that list of things that the AI will have to behave, with in or out of it. What do you do with them if they happen to not go with what the protocol says? What do you do with them?
I mean, you'd almost have to wipe them altogether. And then the question becomes, are you playing God if you're completely doing away with an intelligence?
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
Oh.
So
That's
you
deep.
begin to see some of the problems that are actually being run into now as we talk. And
Because isn't that what's going on with the government right now? Like, they've come up with these artificial intelligent prototypes,
Yeah,
that are basically operating with no guidelines whatsoever.
I know.
So it's a little bit of a black box right now,
God forbid, yeah.
and without those protocols or guidelines in place, it could be catastrophic potentially.
Yes, it could be. Could be. What about if they decide they want to make copies of themselves? Hey, boss, and this is too much work for me to do this every day, and I really need another guy like me to help with this sort of thing. Or, ma'am, this house is just too darn big. I need another housekeeper to work with me to get all this done for your satisfaction. Yeah, all kinds of problems, huh?
All kinds of problems.
Yeah, and all kinds of advantages too.
And
Yeah.
especially when you factor in the fact that, technology is consistently getting more and more advanced
Yeah.
exponentially, right? At a rate that is exponential.
Uh-huh.
Therefore, instead of having to clone themselves, all it's going to take is more memory and more processing power to move quicker.
Right. What happens to our slow brains? What do you say? What do you say? You go ask one of your robots to do something, and they say, "Oh no, stupid! I'm not going to do that. You do it."
Yeah. It could happen. It could happen sooner than we like, for sure.
Sure, it could happen. Yeah. Anyway,
Huh.
that was just a subject I wanted to bring up because it's a very important one.
Well, and it's very of the time, right? It's very now.
Very
Because
now, yeah.
You look at these different programs that are coming out so quickly, and the government doesn't know what the heck to do with them.
Right.
They have no idea.
They don't even know how to get up in the morning. Well, no, they're just not sure what to do with them. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. I would hope that the government has the thought process and the referral process and all of that to help figure that out so the rest of us aren't in big trouble.
Do you think that artificial intelligence dilutes?
What?
Do you think that artificial intelligence dilutes humanity as a whole?
I think that depends upon what we do with it. Because if we decide to have a culture that is just not wringing the sweat out of women and men for enough money to pay for pay for an apartment, or buy a house for a young couple, that sort of thing. We've got to change some of that in order for this AI thing to work successfully. And if we don't, I think we're in deep trouble.
And that change is catastrophic, right? I mean,
Yeah.
for as long as humans have been recording history, the economics of human nature has been you do something for something else.
Yeah.
Whether it be you worked for food when slavery was big back during the pyramids, or now you work for money, therefore you can go buy food, right? Or whatever consumeristic habit you have at home.
Yeah.
But if
Right.
that paradigm is broken, the whole system that we have could potentially collapse in on itself, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Right. One thing I wanted to do today, something that we had talked about in the past, is the idea of love. And now love appears in a lot of philosophy and a lot of biblical sorts of things. And one of my favorite poets was born in 1564 or 9. I can't read my own writing. And he passed away in 1616. And that was William Shakespeare. And he wrote 154 sonnets and some more poems besides that. And this is in response to another person who was saying how wonderfully beautiful his mistress was. It was okay to use the terms mistress in those days. And so Shakespeare comes up with, I hope I got the right one. Gee. A retort to that yeah, there it is. All right, here it goes. This is a sonnet. There's only 14 lines. My mistress' eyes are nothing like the sun. Coral is far more red than her lips red. If snow be white, why, then her breasts are done. I have seen roses damask red and white, but no such roses see I in her cheeks. And in some perfumes is there more delight than in the breath that from my mistress reeks. I love to hear her speak, yet well know that music hath a far more pleasing sound. I grant I never saw a goddess go. My mistress, when she walks, treads on the ground. And yet, by heaven, I think my love is rare as any she belied with false compare. That's one of his sonnets. And that's all I'm going to talk about today. So we'll see you next week.
That was good.
Awesome, Dad.